Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about mentors. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, is it important to have a mentor whilst learning programming? Um, I would say that yes and no. Let me try to say it this way. You can become an enormous success as a software developer without a mentor. I don't want you to think that just because you don't have someone who is more senior next to you, or just because maybe you're not working in say an IT company with the support of senior developers or something like that, that you can't make it in programming. You can absolutely do that. It's not a question of that it's impossible. All I'm going to say to you is that it helps a lot if you have a mentor. The difference between having, but you also have to have a good mentor, of course. But if you can find, and if you are that fortunate that you really do get to a point where you find someone who is willing to coach you a bit, or pair program with you, or give you feedback in any way, like just bestowing their knowledge on you, that is a very good thing. And I would say that's not just for us programmers, it's for everybody. It's honest to God, I understand that our society has moved on from that, but I believe that there was a time when the norm, if you wanted to say become a blacksmith, well, then you didn't just go to school, you actually went and took and you became a disciple, an apprentice to a blacksmith. And I think that that same sort of structure, I mean, in many cases that is still true today, even though even today we do a similar sort of thing. And I do believe that that is the perfect setup for true mastership of any craft. I think that is the system that works the best. So for a programmer, it would be something like you start out going to a university or learning by yourself or something like that. You get the core skills or like the theory about of the thing, and you kind of learn how things work, and then you find yourself an experienced master or someone like that who can train you from being someone who's good with the theory of the thing or can do the basics into an actual master. And at some point you're going to outgrow your apprenticeship as a software developer or blacksmith or whatever you are, and you're going to be able to stand on your own legs and kind of just do the work. And then either you create your own thing, or you start your own company, or I mean, you can just continue working, of course, or you outgrow the master or the person who's trained you, and you go to the next one if you want to push it even further. And I think that that system is, all things considered, the best way to master any profession. But as I said, I really want you to understand that, because I've had a lot of questions related to, okay, but Frederick, if I want to work as a freelancer, is that going to hurt my career just because I don't have a mentor? And I go, well, technically you could still have a mentor even if you're a freelancer. And as I said, just because you're a freelancer, you work completely alone, or if you're a consultant that have your own company, as I said, it's not that you're not going to learn how to program. It's just that it's very, very useful to you to have someone who's more experienced give you feedback on your work. It's more of a guide, a pathfinder who's gone before you, faced a lot of the challenges that you have faced, and they can give you some advice on where the dangers are and where the benefit and where like the treasures and best learning opportunities and so forth are. Because if you have someone like that, they will be able to tell you about the things that you don't even know that you don't know. You're going to discover a lot on your own, but sometimes it's really good to just have someone go, yeah, you should probably check out this stuff here, and do you know about that stuff here? And you go, oh shit, I didn't even know that these things were a thing. And so you expand and you kind of speed up things that you might have either missed out on, or at perhaps at some point learned by yourself. So what I want you to take away from this is that I think it is very important for you to have a mentor if you want to have the best start in your career, and even later on in your career, it's always good to have someone next to you, or have a connection to someone who is more experienced, because at the very least, even if they're sort of at the same level, even if they're just slightly above you, you have someone to rubber duck and shoot ideas with. And if that is in of itself an enormously useful thing, and emotionally it's like the best thing ever. I have a coworker who has he's been very kind to me. He's told me on many occasions that he feels more emotionally happy working when we work together, because he knows that even if I don't know more than him on the specific topic, I'm still knowledgeable enough that when he comes with his ideas and he's a little bit unsure, he knows that we have such a good back and forth that he will get a deeper insight into the problem. I might not be able to tell him how to solve his problem, but just the fact that we can talk on a similar sort of wavelength, he will feels better emotionally. And I think that is the best relationship you can possibly strive for, in both professionally and privately, to have people around you where they have some input that is genuinely useful to you to hear. Because the worst thing ever, I think, at least from my perspective, is when there's a mismatch in the relationship where you have someone who is vastly weaker in terms of whatever you're doing than the other person. Then there's not really a back and forth, and it's a one direction relationship where one person is really only bestowing something onto somebody else. The best thing is, of course, if both parties can make some type of trade, but you have to start somewhere. And if you can find someone who can get you up to a level that is high enough through mentorship and tutoring and so forth, you will find that sooner or later you're going to go from being someone who's just receiving feedback on what you're doing until you're going to get to a point where you can actually talk, both of you together. It's just going to take some time, and that is going to go a lot faster if you have a mentor. But with that said, doesn't mean that you can't do it on your own. It's just going to, in many cases, take a little bit longer. Have a great day.